All right, I believe we are live. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. If you're just joining, we have an active event ongoing down near Potosi. As you can see here, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect and one tornado warning in effect for the region. This is down in Potosi, Jefferson County, where we have an observed tornado currently ongoing. If you're just joining in, we have a tornado warning that is currently ongoing. Tornado has been observed 15 miles southwest of Potosi, moving north at about 30 miles an hour. Hail size is pretty much non-existent. We'll go ahead and take you over to velocity, get you a look on that. Currently, there is a rotation couplet. It's not overly strong. It looks like it has been weakening over the past couple of minutes while I've been trying to set up a stream, but it's still going on nonetheless. We have winds that are rotating around and around the storm updraft. We're going to be tracking that system as it moves northward towards Franklin County, St. Louis County. Likely tornado on the ground. It's going to be this area right here is debris that is being lifted aloft by the storm as it pushes its way across the area just west of Potosi. Still on the ground. We're going to be tracking that for you. Just give me 1 second while I check one thing real quick to make sure that we are going. Okay, all right. Sorry about the delay. Just going through a couple things, make sure we are currently live and going. All right, anybody who wants to watch in, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have an active event that is ongoing. Tornado is on the ground currently, pushing through the Washington County region. Still pushing its way northward. Right now, it is right near the small town of Palmer, pushing off towards Levy and Shirley. We did just get another frame, and it looks like there's still debris being lifted aloft within the storm. However, it is currently unknown whether the tornado is still on the ground. We're going to be still tracking that for you. We'll go ahead and give you a loop of the past few minutes as this has developed. And bear with me, internet has not been my friend today. So we'll see if everything wants to load. And, maybe it'll load. I'll try that again. Here we go. As you watch here, you can kind of see as the storm develops and moves. Look, very, very large debris ball that just moves with this cell. So definitely a tornado, at least was on the ground. There's still debris being held off, so even if you're off in the towns of Palmer or Levy or Shirley, you should still be in your shelter. I mean, you're still in an active tornado warning. The storm, even if it is lifted, has the potential to produce another one. But there still could be debris in the air being held aloft, and it could be falling. So definitely don't want to be outside as this is coming. Besides, if you're off in Levy and Shirley, you're getting hit by heavy rain. You're not going to be able to see this thing coming. So definitely take shelter at this point. I'm expecting the National Weather Service to tag and extend this warning. So likely be extended off to the north for the rest of Washington County, potentially into Franklin County. This is currently moving off towards Lonedale, Huff, Lumbering, Maupin. I'm expecting you all to be in the next warning if the National Weather Service decides to tag and extend. Again, for those of you who are just joining, this is an active event. There is a tornado on the ground in Washington County to the southwest of Potosi, and we are going to be tracking that for y'all as we go through the rest of this evening. Current time is 9:18 Central Daylight Time, and a tornado is on the ground in the area. We'll go take a wider view of the rest of the area. Bring it over to one screen for you. This was a little less confusing. Right now we are tracking a severe thunderstorm warning off to the west around Jeff City, Lynn, and off towards Interstate 70, Kingdom City, Fulton, New Bloomsfield. Current risk at the moment is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and we're going to see that along this line as it pushes east-northeast. Kind of a disorganized line at the moment. I'm watching down here just to the east of Jeff City where those strongest winds could be at the moment. We've got a little bit of open air right here for some potential reboundance and energy for moisture, or energy for the storms to redevelop. So I'm watching to see in case anything decides to build up in this particular region here over the next half hour to hour. If it does, storms could move into the Franklin County area from this direction while we have this currently tornadic cell pushing up into eastern Franklin County and western portions of Jefferson County and St. Louis County. So rattle off a couple of town names for you real quick. This is going to be who will likely be impacted in the next hour to hour and a half, I would say. Storm's last track moving at 30 miles an hour. Okay. So if it keeps on its current heading at its current speed, we're going to be looking at towns such as Shirley in less than 10 minutes, Camp Lakewood 13 minutes, Richwoods 44 minutes, Fletcher 49 minutes. If you're off towards Lonedale, you've got about an hour based on its current speed. If storms off to the west push in during this time, by the way, you're going to end up seeing that storm shift significantly east and potentially die off. So definitely watching to see how this evolves. Go ahead and take a look and see if anything is updated in the meantime. Yes, so there is still likely a tornado on the ground. This is just pretty much on top of Palmer at this point. If you're in Palmer, you need to be in your tornado shelter at this moment. And I'd say if you're off towards Levy or Levi, however you pronounce that, you're going to want to be in your shelter as well. This is a tornado that is likely on the ground. If it is not, it still has debris being held aloft. So you really want to take your tornado precautions and get underground or into the central part of your building at this point. When we have tornadoes on the ground, make sure, folks, that you're going to your basement or a central room in your house away from exterior walls or windows. I cannot stress this enough. If you're caught on the outside and if you get hit by a strong tornado, that is going to end up potentially injuring or even killing you if you're caught on those exterior sides, if the walls collapse or something lands on the roof. Typically, central part of your house is going to be sturdiest, and underground is going to shield you most from those winds or any flying debris. I've seen it where 2x6s have gone into the exterior walls of houses and through windows, so take it from me, if nobody else, you want to be in your safe spot in the center of your house or underground. Okay, so we do have a couple of cells that are popping up in front of this Potosi cell. As it pushes north, a couple of cells that might end up eating off quite a bit of the moisture out towards Sullivan, Stanton, and then off towards Lonedale as well. Those two, if they do continue to develop, could become severe in the future, but it all depends on if they can get enough energy going. And it looks like a lot of these are just going to be pulse storms, which, real quick, shout out to this storm off in St. Louis. St. Louis, as many of you know, was just hit by a very damaging EF3 tornado that was on the ground for about 23 miles and produced winds of 152 miles an hour. A lot of these areas that you see here with the hail reports, these are hail sizes ranging from quarter size to roughly egg size, especially up here in North St. Louis, north of Florissant. 2-inch hail is enough to go through a windshield if it's hard enough. But for those areas that were really just impacted by these storms, large hail and damaging winds just impacted them again. So keep them in your prayers tonight. Hopefully nobody was injured and not too much damage was inflicted. All right, let's take a look at a couple of these cells. Right here we have our active supercell thunderstorm currently pushing off to the north. I want to keep my eye on this system off to the west, this cluster of thunderstorms. It doesn't look like there's too much happening. Ooh, actually, you know what? Off towards Steelville, we might have a developing situation. We might have some rotation on this cell. This might go tornado warned here in a couple minutes, folks. For those of you that are watching, we're tracking at least one tornado that was on the ground as of a minute or two ago. We'll go ahead and check and see. Still looks like it's on the ground based on latest radar imagery. But we also have potentially another supercell developing to the west of Steelville and just southwest of Cuba, moving north-northeast, roughly the same speed as this other cell. Actually, this one appears to be moving much more northeasterly. So this is going to be following I-44, moving towards Cuba, Sullivan, and maybe off towards Krakow, Union, Washington at some point. I think this is going to pass north of St. Clair. But this might end up being a brief spin-up, but still something we really need to watch very closely, as it is showing signs of at least some tight rotation. As a reminder, this area here is what we're looking at. This is what we call a rotation couplet on radar. Signifies that there is an area of the storm that is rotating, and this one seems to be pretty compact, which means even if it is showing only light rotation on radar, it still has the possibility to spin up a brief, weak tornado. Really what we're watching at this point, though, just as a recap, is this cell off to the south of Franklin County, off in Washington County as of right now. This is just east of Viburnum, for those of you that are wondering. Moving along Highway 21, just barely wiggling its way northward into Washington County. It's kind of been sitting in the same spot for the past few minutes. So really interesting to track this cell. It looks like the rotation handed off to another cell. We might have another tornado beginning to develop on this same system. No, it looks like we still have a tornado on the ground heading into Livy right now. Potentially, this is kind of a wacky system here, so that might be a tornado, might just be dead air. Currently trying to figure that out for y'all. So bear with me. Might be dead air. Either way, there was a confirmed tornado down here not too long ago. So we're going to watch that. We'll give it a couple of loops and see what happens, but it looks like that tornado may have dissipated at this point. Might have. It still shows a little bit of rotation right here potentially, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Regardless, it does look like the storm is trying to recycle down again just northeast of Viburnum. This is in southern Washington County, and these storms are trying to push their way northward into Franklin, and potentially, even if they shift east, into Jefferson and St. Louis County. Really watching these storms here to see how they impact them, and eventually this whole line segment here. Line segment's currently moving east-northeast. These cells are moving more northeasterly, and these are moving north. All of these are going to impact the eventual movement of these storms, and again, eventually they'll probably get lumped in with this cell system. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. For those of you that are in Franklin County, if you're in Stanton, St. Clair, Sullivan, you're all getting some pretty nice rain showers right now. Nothing severe indicated on those at the moment, but we are watching them very closely. It doesn't appear to be any strong winds or rotation at this time on them, which is a good thing. And it doesn't appear as though any hail, or at least large hail, is falling. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything's happening to warrant any warnings. For those of you that are west of the area or off in Gasconade County, maybe up towards Herman, enjoying a nice night out in that area, lovely country. There is a severe thunderstorm warning issued for the county over from you, where we have 60-mile-an-hour wind gust as that current threat at the moment. And those storms are going to be moving northeast, especially this segment here. It's one I'm primarily watching. Moving northeast, kind of toward your area. So we're going to keep an eye on that for you as it moves in. Watching all of these cells down here in case they decide to spin up briefly and produce something, which will verify that they're not doing anything right now. We'll watch this pretty closely because it looks like there's some sort of, at least a downdraft occurring right here. I'll mark that for you. Downdraft occurring here, producing some gusty winds. Watching this leading edge here a little bit. That might be a brief spin. We'll go ahead and switch it over to reflectivity just to verify. Yeah, so watching up here towards Mocaine and Chamois along the Missouri River. This is going to pass northeast or north of Herman at some point. But again, watching this whole line segment to see if anything brief spins up in the next hour and a half. We'll take you back on down to Washington County, Potosi, where things are still unfolding, and it does appear that we are going to see this storm try to reproduce tornadoes. Just barely trying to get a hook echo out here where we do have a decent inflow notch, at least where warm, moist air is just being funneled into the storm. So we're going to be watching that to see if it recycles and if the storm decides to speed up and continue moving north towards Franklin, Jefferson, and St. Louis counties. I'm thinking, though, that it is going to start moving more northeasterly at some point, in which case, potentially off towards DeSoto, Festus, Potosi, you might get a little bit of the action here if that does happen. I also do want to point out we potentially had a tornado on the ground just west of Festus earlier today. Have an acquaintance who said that they were pretty close to it. I don't know if they're referencing that there was an actual touchdown. There hasn't been any confirmation of that yet, but just know it is possible that there was a tornado on the ground just west of Festus earlier this evening. Probably an hour and some change ago. So if you're wondering, not an active event, but still something that I'm keeping my eye on in case we do start getting reports coming in there. Looks like the National Weather Service St. Louis just discontinued the warning for the Potosi cell. I guess they let it expire. But regardless, there are still damaging wind gusts that are possible with this cell, so I'm expecting them to issue a severe thunderstorm warning shortly. If nothing else, for some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. But we'll see what they issue going forward. Potentially some weak rotation on this, but it looks like the cell has died for the time being. We're going to go ahead and look at that Cuba cell again. Yes, so Cuba, you are the new target. Well, I shouldn't say target, but you are the new storm of interest. It does appear that there is at least a weak rotation couplet that is forming up just on the south side of Cuba. This is going to be moving northeast, semi-parallel to Interstate 44. So this is going to be moving into Franklin County very shortly. If you know folks in Cuba, and I would say even off towards Bourbon, Japan, Elmont, maybe even off towards Sullivan, give them a shout, say, hey, this is something you want to watch. Start heading towards your basement, if nothing else, in case this does decide to go ahead and produce something. But this is a cell that we are going to be watching as it moves into the greater Franklin County area. Other than that, our only other warned storm, which this isn't even warned down here, I'm guessing they'll probably say something, or the National Weather Service off of St. Louis will say something here in the next couple of minutes. But we do have this cell, or this rather line of cells off towards Jefferson City. Excuse me. Which by now it is east of Jefferson City. We're going to see that still moving along the Missouri River, pushing its way off to the northeast. Herman, you aren't in a warning yet, but I do see the potential for you to be entered into one over the next few minutes as the storm continues to move in your direction. At the moment, it is 9:32 p.m. Central Daylight Time. There are no tornadoes on the ground as of this moment. However, there is potential for one to be produced down near Cuba at this point, which does look like we do have some interesting cell shape. Kind of a supercell shape here. I might be wishing a little too hard for that. It's very disorganized and might just end up being a strong downdraft. But regardless, as y'all just saw, there is some sort of potential rotation on this cell. And we can even look at storm relative velocity, and we can see there is at least a strong downdraft on the storm. So if you're in Cuba, you might be getting some good wind gusts, maybe a little bit of small hail, no more than pea size I'm expecting. But definitely a lot of lightning in that area. For the rest of Franklin County, or I should say for Franklin County, we do have one storm that has set itself up on Interstate 44, pretty much following it the entire way up from Sullivan all the way up towards Pacific. This system doesn't really have anything going for it rotation-wise or wind-wise, and it's kind of just sitting there from what I've been seeing. So not really worried about it. The most you'll get from it is just some heavy rain and a couple of lightning strikes. So don't, excuse me, don't fear this at this point. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a renewed tornado warning for Washington County. National Weather Service St. Louis office has just reissued a tornado warning for Washington County. And it does look like our rotation signature is once again strengthening. We may see another tornado be produced by this complex of storms down here. So if you're in Washington County, if you're in Potosi, or any of the towns aforementioned, such as Levy, Shirley, Laddie, Aptos, Ebo, many of these are unincorporated communities. If you know anybody out towards those areas, which I know there was a tornado out there earlier this year, tell them to seek shelter. This storm has a history, or the storm complex has a history of producing at least one damaging tornado. Tell them to take shelter. Tell them to get towards their basement or interior room in their house, away from exterior walls or windows. Want to make sure they can get as safe as possible. If they've got pets, medication, shoes, water, food, they should be okay. Make sure they've got things like flashlight, batteries, all of that sort of stuff. First aid kit, all of which can be very important if you were to get hit. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the storm doesn't end up producing something, but we need to treat it as though it will. So if you're in Washington County, even if you're off towards Potosi, this storm has a chance that it'll shift east and move through that area. Take your immediate tornado precautions. Get underground. This is an active tornado warning. As far as I can tell, there currently isn't anything on the ground. We'll go ahead and verify that. Yeah, nothing is on the ground as of right now. Ignore this. Excuse me. So exhausted from a few days ago. Ignore that. It's just dead air at this point. There's nothing up there to produce or support tornado development. But we do have an active tornado warning in our area. So people, this is active. Watch it. See how it develops. We're going to be keeping an eye on this as it pushes towards the area. And just a reminder, this is a storm that has pretty much sat over the same area now for about the past hour. It has really not moved at all. It's not going in. Oh, real quick, we have another developing situation for those of you that are watching. Tornado warning was just issued for Cuba. Called it. This is going to be moving right over Interstate 44 almost now. I mean, it's pretty much right there. It's rolling into Cuba as we speak. This is going to be moving northeast. This is going to be entering Franklin County probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes. These are very slow-moving storms, but right now this is the area we're watching. Current movement, last I checked, was off in this direction, though it may shift east just a little bit. We'll go ahead and take you over to velocity, see what's happening there. Yes, so that was indeed a radar signature. Suggesting rotation, and the National Weather Service did agree with that point. Okay, so this is the second active warning. We now have two active warnings. Current time is 9:37 Central Daylight Time. This is where things get spicy. All right. Currently, there are no tornadoes on the ground yet. No tornadoes on the ground at the moment, but we are watching in case these storms do decide to produce something. Cuba cell might end up dissipating, not sure. This one out towards Potosi has the better chance of maintaining itself and pushing north. But both cells do pose a risk of producing a tornado, so we really want to keep our eyes on that. Where was it going? Let's go ahead and view the updrafts on these cells, and those will kind of tell us a little what to expect. So Cuba cell, not a whole lot supporting it at the moment, so I'm thinking that one's going to die out relatively soon. However, this one down towards Potosi, this has got pretty good potential on it as of right now. It's not the greatest numbers as far as updraft strength. However, it does have the history of it, not only, but the ability to recycle with some unlimited moisture down towards the south. That would support it redeveloping and producing another tornado. we'll go ahead and back out and show you kind of what we're looking at region-wide. We already have one line of storms along the warm sector that is pushing its way northward and out of our area. We have a second round of storms, namely in St. Louis, but also stuff off towards Mexico along Interstate 70. That is also pushing north and out of our area, but slower. We have this segment of storms here that is potentially producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Those are pushing off towards the east-northeast or maybe even northeast at this point. And then we have this cluster of storms down here, which currently have potentials to produce tornadoes at this point. So 4 areas. These 2 areas, cross them off. They're not to be worried about. But these storms out towards Jeff City and these down towards Potosi and Cuba are what our main concerns are as of this point. Also watching this stuff along I-44 in case it decides to develop. Excuse me. Everything is moving very slow tonight. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the cell down towards Potosi hasn't moved more than 10 miles in the past hour. So really, really slow-moving stuff. So anywhere that does get impacted, it's pretty much going to sit on you for quite some time. We'll go ahead and track out the Cuba cell real quick. I just want to verify current speed on it, 20 miles an hour. So yeah, very, very slow-moving storms. We'll go ahead and track that out for anybody who might be in the path of it. 20... All right, so this is a very, very confined area of movement, and if it moves east or west, you're going to see that reflected in the timing at some point too, because it'll likely speed up to Hofflands, you're less than 6 minutes. Japan, you're about a half hour. I know, such a short distance, but it's still something that's going to take time to get to. Strain, just over 45 minutes. Champion City, Mill Rock Road, probably 50 minutes at this point. We are just now getting an update, so I'll get you that fresh radar data on everything. It does look like the storms down near Potosi are still holding their somewhat supercellular strength, and they're pushing off to the north still. If these don't get impacted, those are actually coming towards my area again. I'll be watching those cells very closely. We'll take a look at velocity, see if anything's updated. Still strong rotation down here towards Potosi, but that hasn't updated. Same with Cuba, still hasn't updated, so we'll watch that very closely. Bear with me while I get something to plop in my mouth so I stop yawning. Excuse me for that. Okie dokie, let's continue onward. Okay. It appears we just did get an update on all this. Potosi, your cell is still gaining strength. Very dangerous situation down there potentially. Cuba, it looks like yours is weakening. So yeah, it didn't look like the updraft wanted to do anything. Not very exciting, but it's all good. It's moving over a populated area right now. It's a good thing that nothing is happening. Still nothing on the ground near down close to Potosi, but this data is almost 3 minutes old, so we'll see what happens next time it updates. Take you on over. Herman, I said I'd be watching you. I still am, but these storms just have not moved at all in your direction, so still not really anything to worry about. This warning is actually about to expire in 3 minutes. Not really much point continuing to watch it for winds, but still definitely something to watch in case rotation does decide to spin up on it at some point. Just give you a broad view of the region real quick. I'll let that loop a few times. I'm just looking right now for any obvious hooks that could be popping up. I think at this point, which I'll run this real quick, I think all the stuff out towards Jeff City is pushed a lot further north. which is good. I mean, we're not going to see any damaging wind gusts, at least for a while, in Herman, but still watching these storms down here as they evolve, in case they do decide to go ahead and produce a strong storm or even a tornado. Those are going to be our main risk at this point. Okay, so we do have another cell. This is in St. Louis, so I'm going to divert my attention for just a brief minute. This is Berkeley, Ferguson, Bellefontaine, Neighbors. So this is really northern St. Louis. There does appear to be a somewhat strong storm that just popped up over there, potentially producing a couple of slightly gusty winds. So if any of you are up there, expect nothing, if nothing else, a pretty decent downpour for the next couple of minutes. Taking on back down to Potosi, we did just get an update on our radar data. So we'll be taking a look at that. Yes, so still a very strong rotation couplet and nothing on the ground. Okay, so good. Nothing is currently happening with that cell down near Potosi. Let's see if the computer wants to work tonight. Let's see if it wants to. We can get ourselves a 3D scan of what's happening within that cell. We can see if there's any hail, what the updraft cone looks like, how everything is working. Bear with me, we actually just we're about to get, I think, a fresh loop of data, so we'll hold that off for just a moment. Moment, we'll see. I'm kind of curious to see what this Ferguson cell does. Growing a little bit, okay. Don't ask what that happened. Technology, right? It's a thing. Still nothing on the ground down near Potosi. That's good. Looks like Potosi, you're probably going to be in the clear at this point. Hold tight for just a few more minutes to see exactly where this cell does end up going. I'm thinking it's going to continue on its northerly trend, since everything else has decided to follow that style of movement and move north. Real quick, I want to track this stuff down here. Okay. So this may not be the last. Once these come through, you're still going to have more storms to watch out for, folks. We still have a couple of storms that are down in south central Missouri that might make their way as far north as us. Question is, will they have the energy necessary to continue going at that point? Just like the Potosi storm, it has used up a lot of fuel in this area, and I'm not sure if it's going to be able to support itself going forward, especially with all of this currently developing off towards its east. It might kill off the storm. We'll see, though. Weirder things have happened. Let's take a look around St. Clair and Noser Mill real quick. Some interesting developments out there. So here's something that I kind of want to watch. Probably nothing, but it's in our area. I want to keep an eye on it. This might be a developing area of concern. Might be a developing area of rotation. I'll show you. Right now, it does look like this storm is potentially trying to hook. It's a very slack job of a hook echo, but we do have a very noticeable inflow notch here, which is again allowing for that warm, moist air to flow into the cell. And if we do see that continue to develop, we might have a tornado potential in Franklin County, moving off towards New Haven or Campbellton, Lyons, Clover Bottom, maybe even off towards Croco. It's just something in the county to watch. Okay, I can hear the rain outside my window right now, so sorry about that. Just started up. Man, Potosi, you were really slacking at this point. Your cell kind of fell apart. Which, I mean, is a good thing. But given how strong the rotation is there, that's very surprising. Still an inflow notch. Still something happening in there. Just not sure what. Just not sure what. Cuba, you're in the clear at this point, if anybody's watching down there. And yeah, it looks like the cell out towards Cuba and Leesburg has pretty much diminished at this point. A couple of gusty wind spots as the storm continues to move north, but I'm not looking at anything too significant at this point. We'll take a look out towards Northern Mill once again with this new round of data. Nothing on storm relative velocity, but again, we're just watching this very, very loose potential for a rotation to spin up. Actually, we'll go ahead and take a look and see what our vertically integrated liquid's showing. Weak updraft. I'm not expecting it to support all that much. Mineral Point, though, we got a pretty good amount of moisture getting sucked up quite a bit of ways up in the atmosphere. Something to watch for sure. But not holding on too much hope at this point of anything coming from it. It looks like it's pretty disorganized at this point. Still rotation, but disorganized. We'll get a fresh loop of data. Still trying to do something. Still got a little bit of a hook shape right here. Still got that inflow notch. Still got a little bit of hook. It is just barely hanging on to life. Let's see. Correlation coefficient. Nothing on the ground still. Okay. Which, for those of you who are wondering, we did have a for sure tornado on the ground earlier this evening. You can see it here. I'll kind of zoom in on it. Right here, this was definitely producing it. Nothing else, significant tree damage in southern Washington County and northern portions of whatever county that is that Viburnum's in. South of our area, but this was on the ground earlier, and it continued northward and eventually diminished. This cell, though, Potosi, is still barely hanging on. Okay, so they did, National Weather Service off of St. Louis did discontinue the Cuba storm. That's good. And they also discontinue the severe thunderstorm warning for areas west of Herman. It looks like, for the most part, this event is going to become more of a general thunderstorm risk. It looks like everything is just going rain-wrapped, pretty much. Well, not really rain-wrapped, but rain consumed. It's going outflow dominant. Nothing's really able to support continual development. And as we're seeing with this Potosi storm down here, even the strongest storm in the area is having a really tough time continuing itself. Actually, we'll take a look off towards Hannibal. Just why not? Let's look way north for no reason. It does look like there is a strong storm moving in there with a tornado potential. Let's see if there's anything on the ground. Nothing on the ground indicated at this point, but we're still watching just in case. If anybody is out towards Quincy or Hannibal, shout out to you all. Send me something in the comments so I at least know I'm not talking to dead air. But we'll shift our focus back south again as we do get more and more data. We just had an update. Man, that Potosi storm is still going. It's still going somehow. Not sure how, but it's still going. Let's see if we've got any additional data. Rotation couplet looks to be weakening. It seems to be going outflow dominant at this point. But we're still going to continue to watch it because it is still a rotation signature nonetheless. Just very weak. Very weak indeed. I mean, aside from that, we'll take a look around the area. There really isn't anything else that warrants any sort of warning. Like, Potosi is looking weaker and weaker as the minutes drag on. I'm expecting the National Weather Service to discontinue this warning here in a few minutes. And if that happens, we might just end the live stream because I don't think anything's going to be able to kick up in this area. We'll take a broad look out at the rest of the nation to see what's happening. And at this point, there were several tornadoes across northwest Arkansas, a couple of them in Oklahoma as well, and even into Missouri and Kansas. Actually, there was one off towards Nebraska as well, but nothing currently ongoing on the ground. It pretty much looks like the system has just gone outflow dominant. It's just pushing all of the rain out at this point. Not expecting any more severe to develop in our area, at least for several hours. Like, the closest that I can see going severe would be the stuff down towards Viburnum, still, and Potosi, and then maybe stuff down in south central Missouri. But I think last I checked that was going further east. Let me verify that. Was heading north, but look, yeah, it started pushing further east, so we might get something from that. But I'm not holding out too much hope. I really don't feel like sitting here and letting you all listen to me yawn for the next 2 hours as that gets closer. But I think once National Weather Service cancels this warning, I'll continue to watch it. They actually just updated the warning, which may hint that they're not going to discontinue it for a while. Still a weak rotation signature, and it's definitely weakened quite a bit. Still something, though. And there's nothing on the ground at all. Nothing on the ground any little bit. Okay. Well, I am glad that I went live this evening. If nothing else, just to cover the stuff down in Potosi. Had it been quicker moving, and had it had more open air, that would have continued to have gone north towards us and potentially produced another tornado in the Franklin County area, which was what I was fearing that would have going to happen. Stuff tear through areas that have already been impacted this year, and that's something we don't want to see happen, especially after seeing stuff in St. Louis last weekend, and then, of course, the March tornadoes that a lot of people still remember. But it looks like Potosi dodged the bullet this time. It didn't last time, but this time it seemed to have. But I'm expecting quite a few damage surveys down towards Viburnum or areas east of Viburnum in the coming days by the National Weather Service, just to check and see what all happened down there, because that was for sure a tornado on the ground. And I would even say go check out near Festus, because apparently there was at least something weak that happened out there. Not sure if it ever touched down, but there was potentially something on the ground out towards there, west of Festus, so don't get alarmed thinking that it was in Festus, but in that area nonetheless. Why? Why won't you die? Why won't you die, Potosi Storm? You're still going. Same data as a couple minutes ago. Just verify that nothing is happening. Yeah, still nothing's happening. I want to take a look out at Franklin County again just to make sure nothing's happening. Yeah, nothing is happening that I can see. Actually, we'll watch out towards Augusta real quick. What's happening here? Might be a little bit of gusty winds out towards Augusta right now. A little bit of indication of rotation, but I don't think there's any structure to actually support it, so I'm not going to say too much on that. Yeah, it just looks like downdraft gusts at this point. Don't worry about it. A couple of gusty 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts, but I think that's about the most you'll see tonight, at least. I'll go ahead and take a look at the storm report down here. Trees down. This is probably just wind damage if I'm guessing right. Yeah, just looks like tree damage from winds. Straight line winds. Alright, well, I don't think Potosi's going to end up doing anything. I think it's just going to go north and eventually peter out. It doesn't look like there's anything in the air in this area to support its development, but real quick, I'll pull up a couple of things and just verify that for everybody. That way we can all sleep nicely tonight. Nice rumble of thunder in the background. Bear with me. I'm just checking that out. Yeah, I think at this point a lot of the energy is going to be kept from the atmosphere. Just checking out the Storm Prediction Center's mesoscale analysis, which gives me fairly current data on what's happening with certain elements such as storm energy, moisture availability, all that sort of fun stuff. It's still going. It's still going, guys. It's still somehow going. Still no tornado on the ground. At least there's no debris being picked up by it. So, still watching it. We're still going to hold on and keep going until this thing dies. For those of you that are wondering, it is well northwest of Potosi at this point, currently speeding up. Go ahead and track out timing just for anybody who's curious. What's this movement? 35 miles an hour. Actually, this might be recycling. This might be trying to recycle and actually do something. I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to die. But nope. Just out of spite, it's going to prove me wrong. See if we can get as accurate data as possible. Still nothing going on. Bear with me, I want to check something out towards Owensville real quick. Not too much happening out there. Stuff's fairly loose, but a little bit of interesting storm shape, so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll also check out towards Union and make sure everything's hunky-dory up near Augusta. Yeah, everything looks pretty hunky-dory. Not worried about that up there at the moment. So once again, the Potosi storm, which is now about to be the Apta storm, which will soon be the Richwood storm, which will soon be Hurricane, which will eventually be Lawndale's problem. In like 2 hours, apparently. Because why would it move any quicker? Let people get to bed. Yeah, did I mention I'm tired yet? I'm tired, boss. Lawndale, you're looking about 30 minutes. So I stand corrected. 30 minutes on that. Aptus, you're getting hit by this right now. You'll be in the clear in a couple minutes. Richwood, 15 minutes. Mount Hope, half an hour. Robertsville, 45 minutes. Catawissa, 46 minutes. I'm expecting it to kind of hold on its northerly track. But we'll see if that ends up happening, because who knows? Who knows indeed. It has been a wacky night. I mean, if I had my say, I would say that this doesn't look nice at all for storm development, much less a tornado development, but what do I know? Sorry, I'm looking at a couple of messages from folks real quick. Just making sure they're up to date. Cool. Alright, sweet. So, for those of you that are just now joining, we are looking at what is still an active tornado threat north of Potosi, moving towards Lawndale in the next half hour. This storm has already produced one tornado and has recycled numerous times. And is still trying to do something. I'm not sure what it's trying to do, but it's just trying. Can we give a participation award to a storm? If so, it'll be this one. Still moving north. Right now it is in the north central part of Washington County. If you're in Potosi, you are in the clear. I'm not expecting anything else for y'all tonight. Go ahead and look down there, Salem, if anybody's out there. Severe thunderstorm warning was issued, I guess, fairly recently by the National Weather Service. for damaging wind gusts to 60 miles an hour, maybe penny-sized hail. This is a line of storms that has been going on for a while now, has a history of producing some damage out near Springfield and east of there. Might see impacts from that later on tonight, but I'm not going to stick around and stay awake for that. I am tired and I've got a week ahead of me. And unless something drastic changes in the next hour, I will probably be dead asleep at that point. Hopefully. We're looking at this storm down near Potosi still continuing to go on. It just won't die. Every time I say it's going to die, it decides to restart and keep going. And there hasn't been anything on the ground. For those of you that are watching right now, which I think there's maybe one of you, down towards Viburnum, there was a tornado on the ground associated with that cell system. It was on the ground for a few minutes, caused some pretty good tree damage, if nothing else. A good bit of debris was being lifted aloft by radar, or according to radar. But it hasn't dropped anything since. So we'll keep watching, keep seeing what's happening. But aside from that cell, there's nothing out there that really shows any willpower to produce any sort of tornado or tornadic signatures at the very least. If anybody else is wondering, we did potentially, and I say potentially because I haven't seen anything confirming it yet, there was potentially a tornado down on the ground west of Festus earlier this evening, right somewhere between 8 or 9 o'clock. Couldn't really tell if there was any debris signature. If it was on the ground, it was very weak. But Dad was talking to one of his coworkers, and they said apparently it went close to them, so who knows if it was on the ground. We're still waiting for confirmation on that. At the moment, though, we are still watching this threat down towards Fletcher now. For anybody who knows where that is, Richwood's hurricane, northeast portions of Washington County, that would be more appropriate, I guess. Storm is still moving, and it has picked up speed, thank goodness. About 35 miles an hour or so it's still slow moving, but it is finally getting its act together and is rolling. No tornado on the ground at this point, or at least nothing is picking up any sort of debris. Might be a couple of strong wind gusts associated with this cell, so if you're in that area and watching, just beware. Could be a few strong wind gusts with this. But there's nothing on the ground. We'll go ahead and check what's looking like higher up. Yeah, see, even the rotation couplet here is showing a significant divide here, so I'm wondering if this is going to finally kill itself off and just become a general thunderstorm. We'll go ahead and check that updraft. Are you kidding me? The updraft is still going. Come on! Somehow this storm is still sucking in energy. I'm not sure where from. I'm not sure how, but it is. So we're still going to treat this as a serious tornado potential as it moves into Franklin County in the next 15-20 minutes. I'll take a look down south real quick. I just want to verify that none of these are rotating. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, that might be. It's an area of concern. Radar data is so scrappy out in that direction, it's hard to tell, but it's potentially trying to do something. Hard to tell, though. Very hard to tell. Check out by Rolla as well. Nothing looks promising. It looks like if there's anything, it's just going to be some strong wind gusts. But we'll keep our eye out. As long as the storm is going, I will be live. Oh, which, for those of you that are wondering who are live or watching me earlier, that Ferguson cell, I guess, produced some sort of large hail. No, that wasn't it. Actually, yeah, it did. It produced 1-inch hail. And has moved north and is currently severe thunderstorm warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So if you were, for some unbeknownst to me reason on the Mississippi River right now. Why don't you go take shelter and get off the river? Yeah, never mind, it's 10:08 at night. You should probably be off the river. A little bit of an interesting hook shape there. We'll go ahead and check that out real quick. No rotation signature on it, so not worried about it. Why won't you die? The storm is still going. Still going, folks, still going. It is hanging on for some reason. And that might be one of the most pathetic looking hook echoes I've ever seen, but it is still rotating and it is still a threat. So we'll treat it like one. Definitely nothing on the ground based on there. Nothing on the ground. Just rain. It's rain, thunder, and maybe a tornado, folks. Updraft is still going strong as of 20 minutes ago. We just need it to update. And we'll go ahead and check echo top. So actually decently high top storm. This is hitting roughly 50,000 feet in the atmosphere, so fairly high top storm. It's got potential. Yeah, it has had potential. It's already produced a tornado. Actually, this latest scan is showing a much more impressive hook shape here. See, definitely better defined, to say the least. Richwoods, this is going to be entering your area T-minus less than 10 minutes. Hurricane, you're pretty much in that same boat. I'm guessing it's still moving along at about 35 miles an hour. Yes, still moving along 35 miles an hour. Excuse me. Track that out for you as it moves. Actually, real quick, I'm going to verify its movement direction for y'all. Yeah, still holding on that course, pushing pretty much right along the county line. I'm gonna bring this all the way out to roughly where I am. Curious. Put it down for 35 and calculate. Alright. Richwoods, you got less than 10 minutes. Lowendale, you've got less than half an hour at this point. Probably down to closer to 25 or less minutes. Assuming this thing doesn't slow down again, which we're about to find out what it's going to do. There does seem to be a lot of convection ahead of this, so I'm expecting it to weaken, potentially. Orman, just over half an hour. Villa Ridge, I think you're going to be far enough west where you shouldn't have to worry about it, but you're still in the risk about 45 minutes out. Pacific, it's starting to look a little more impressive. Pacific, you're looking 45 minutes at this point. I would definitely be watching fairly closely. Gray Summit as well, though I think you'll be fairly far enough west. It'll be close, though. So, less than 45 minutes until it roughly hits the I-44 corridor. With that latest scan, we're going to go ahead and take a look, see what all is happening, check it out. Still nothing on the ground. Come on, give me something at least to work with. If you're going to keep me up until 11, you got to give me something. Otherwise, it's just going to be boring for all the people watching. Still rotating. It is still rotating over Carp Lake Road. If you're on Carp Lake Road, right on Highway 47, just about to enter Franklin County, might actually go briefly into Jefferson County. Maupin, you're kind of in this path area. It is right there. Also got some potentially severe wind gusts of about 60 miles an hour on the cell, so if you're in that area, expect some pretty good wind gusts. Yep. Other than that, though, not all that much happening. We'll check on the North St. Louis cell real quick. There is pretty much nothing happening on that one. Just potentially some large hail. We just had that warning tagged on and extended into Franklin County. This is a Franklin County tornado warning now. Still nothing on the ground. It's still radar indicated. But we do have that extension going for the cell that does not want to die. So we will keep it live until this thing is dead. This will probably be crossing Highway 47 almost now. I'm expecting this to start moving decently quickly. Yeah, it's just about to cross Highway 47, still holding that hook echo shape for us. If you're looking anywhere else in the area, nothing else is going on. Shive, North St. Louis, nothing else is happening. Wow, okay. It's not gonna die. It's gonna keep going all the way up to us. It's gonna get up to Highway 44 or Interstate 44, and then it'll die. Watch, it'll do it. Let's get a scan. Let's see if there's anything being held aloft based on the correlation coefficient, which tracks debris and hail. For those of you who are wondering, actually, this might crash my computer, so we're not gonna mess with that. The storm is somehow still going. Okay. So while we're waiting for radar data to update, I'm going to take you over to one of the forecast models and kind of give you an idea of what we're going to expect. Don't pay attention to where all the storm locations are. That'll shift per model run. It's just a guesstimate on what's going to happen. So we're going to have storms continue. This is 1 a.m. Continue to move through the area. Potentially a couple of stronger ones with some good downpours on it, but I'm not expecting any severe or any tornadoes once this initial round moves through. Not saying our chance is completely dead, but I'm just not expecting it. Storms will move through, maybe another round close to 7 or 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so anybody driving anywhere, watch out for a couple of scattered thunderstorms at that point. But then we look pretty clear as we go into the afternoon hours, and ignore that. It's just we don't have all the data yet. Maybe a couple of other thunderstorms around midday or early afternoon, but chances are those are fairly slim, and I'm expecting them to be further east at that point. We'll go ahead and take you back to the radar. It's starting to really actually get a pretty interesting hook shape on it. Very, very good inflow notch here, and as you can see, it's just sucking in good, warm, moist air into this updraft here, which is where the tornado would end up being. Up here is mostly just downdraft and forward flank gusts. That is our one threat in the area. I mean, seriously, shy of this stuff up here, which we'll check on that real quick. We'll check just real quick. Maybe a little bit of something as far as downdraft winds go, but nothing tornadic at the moment, so we'll keep that out of our mind. I'm going to check and see if anything is on the ground, and I'm not expecting, yeah, nothing's on the ground. Nothing, fairly strong rotation deal though. Are you kidding me? Oh, another supercell just went tornado warned south of this one. Good lord, this is going to be a long night. There's going to come a point, folks, where I'm just going to tap out and say, I'm done, y'all are on your own. I got to get sleep. These storms are going to move at Mach nothing. It's just going to sit and do nothing and just keep me up all night. So we do have another storm that has just gone tornado warned. This is now moving towards Potosi once again. So if you're down near Potosi, this is another cell that is moving into your area. Remember, folks, if you're in any of these tornado warnings, you need to take your tornado precautions, which means getting into your basement or into an interior room in your house, away from exterior walls and away from any windows. Want to make sure that you've got some of your supplies with you, meaning if you got shoes, get them on, any medication, flashlights, first aid kit, water, food, your pets, your other people. Get all of those with you in that safe spot. This is an active threat right now. Just because it doesn't look promising on radar doesn't mean it can't produce. So keep that in mind as through all of this. While there is nothing at least reported and nothing visibly as of radar on the ground, excuse me, we still need to treat these as though they are legitimate threats, which, I mean, they are, but there's just nothing on the ground yet. Keep watching. It looks like this cell here is actually going to take more of an aim towards Wildwood and Eureka. It looks like it's trying to shift further northeast. So for any of you out there in the Wildwood area, be careful. There are more storms coming. I know you're watching, Jim. Mr. Jimmy. This is a shout out for you. I'm going to keep you up until 11:30 tonight just to make sure you don't get hit. Alright, so I believe these storms are starting to move faster and faster. I think this is going to be moving about 40 miles an hour. No, it's not moving 25 miles an hour. Come on. Don't do that. Why would you do that? Yeah, it's moving about 40. And this one is moving same speed. Really interesting that this one decided to pop up down here. I don't expect it to do anything, but it's interesting that there's enough energy in the atmosphere to support that, at least in that area. Just so we're still watching, we still have this line of storms that's pushing kind of into the area. Not really seeing anything severe on it. Maybe a couple of strong wind gusts with it. Salem, you're getting impacted here in a couple of minutes. St. James, you're not looking too severe, but still watching just in case. But other than that, these are our main risk at the moment. This is kind of just, whatever. I'll throw a couple of wind gusts at you just to keep you up. Give you a couple of tree branches to pick up in the morning. Alright. Still nothing on the ground with these two cells. We'll go ahead and take a look real quick. Don't think that's anything. It's probably just noise on radar. Noise or dead air. Oh, uh-oh. 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 We got something to watch here. Nope, just dead air. Never mind. Just dead air. Everybody's... Oh, we do have a confirmed tornado. I guess this is visually confirmed. There is a tornado on the ground. Just moving into Jefferson County right now. So it just crossed over Highway H. I guess we have a visual confirmation of this radar confirmed tornado. Who radar confirmed it? There hasn't been anything. I guess they're counting this as debris. Okay. I guess we'll get volumetric data ongoing, but I really haven't seen anything with it. Interesting. I'm going to say somebody probably saw it between lightning flashes. Regardless, though, we're going to treat this as it is a confirmed tornado on the ground. So, this isn't going to load for me. So, screw that. Pull this out. This is currently heading towards Highway 30. If you're in Grubville, you need to start taking your immediate tornado precaution. This does look like it's about to start really weakening, but we're going to treat it as though it's going to continue. It's got some potential to keep going. Decently strong rotation signature down there. There we go. Okay, so there it is. This is most definitely a tornado on the ground, just passing over Highway H. very much confirmed this is definitely debris being held aloft. This is going to be moving parallel to Highway WW, heading up towards Grubville. We're going to track this out timing for you right now. Put it out at 40 miles an hour. That's about what it's moving at. Grubville, you got about 10 minutes. So it's going to be moving to you in about 10 minutes. Keep your eye on that. This is an active tornado on the ground, last we checked. And we're getting a couple of... getting a couple of confirmation from that as of right now. So tornado is on the ground, causing damage just to the west of Fletcher. This is in the Tri-County area of Franklin, Jefferson, and Washington, crossing over the county line probably right now. Come on, we need updates. We need updates on this. It's a miracle this thing produced. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. I can't believe the storm is still going. Here we're about to get an update on this. Information is likely in Jefferson County at this point. Yes, okay, so we definitely have some more debris being held aloft. Much better looking information on this, so we'll wait till this updates as well. Come on, update. Yep, crossing over the county line as we speak. This is very much an active situation. If you are in the towns of Grubville, Ormond, Cedar Hill Lakes, and even off towards Pacific or Eureka, if you're up that way, I would start getting things ready, start looking at this storm very seriously. This is an active tornado on the ground. It's about to enter your county, or close to your county. So take this as a very serious, very legitimate threat. There is a tornado on the ground moving towards y'all. It doesn't look like this cell is going to die, as we've seen all throughout this evening. It's a very, very stubborn cell. Supercell. And it is really riding that county line, too. Yeah, okay. I'm just checking out a couple of different things. Yeah, okay, so it's really riding right past Maupin. Lonedale, I'm expecting you all to be out to the west of this, but still treat this as though it were going to come close to you. I would still be in your tornado shelter just in case something does happen. Saw it with the last one the storm produced. It wiggled and wobbled, seemingly miles in each direction. So who knows what's going to happen. Get a look at the updraft on this cell, and it's really not all that strong. Very surprised indeed. Which it does look like that rotation is slightly weaker going into the last couple of radar loops. But still, it's active, it is producing damage, it is lifting debris aloft. Likely a weak tornado, but we're still going to watch and see what it does. We just had another severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. I feel bad for the people down here along the southern portion of Washington County. These people have just been getting hit all night long. Tornado is still on the ground, still moving northward right along the Jefferson and Franklin County line. It is currently moving out of Washington County. If we know anybody emergency response or emergency service related in northeastern portions of Washington County, I'd see if you got people down in Potosi who know what they're doing, send them up towards Highway H, west of Fletcher and east of Richwoods. We've probably got some home damage in this area. We've got a couple of small roads, Timber Ridge landfill right in that area. That's probably throwing trash around everywhere, if I'm guessing right. But still, start sending emergency services up that way. If nothing else, it's hitting a bunch of homes, potentially in this area here. And it's going to move right along Highway WW, moving into Grubville in the next probably 15 minutes. So if you're in Grubville, and I'll time this out for y'all once again. If you're in Grubville, come on, select. Come on, do the thing. If you are in Grubville, you have an active tornado on the ground. It's coming at you. You got about 10 minutes or less. Oh, get out of there. This is a confirmed tornado by radar. I don't know if anybody has visually confirmed it yet. However, it is producing damage and is lifting debris aloft. I really want to see if I can get this thing to show us what it's going to be looking like. I really want to see what this thing is doing. Come on, show it to me. Wow, this is just messy. I'm going to tell you what, folks. This is one of the messiest tornadoes I've ever seen as far as storm structure. We'll take a look down here, Potosi, briefly. I just want to keep y'all updated on what's happening down there. Y'all are still in a tornado threat. It's not as well defined as this storm, and I think you're just going to end up with a bunch of outflow from the system. I don't see any tornado debris being lifted aloft down there, so I think y'all are pretty much in the clear at this point. Still treated, excuse me, as though they're on the ground, but just beware. Yeah, you probably don't have anything down there. I'm still focusing on this tornado that is currently in Jefferson County, moving towards Grubville. As a reminder, this is an active tornado, so what to do in this situation? And you can, if you got family, got friends down there, let them know that this is heading towards them right now. They got about 10 minutes until it hits Grubville, probably about the same amount of time until it's around Ormond and Highway 30. But if you're in this area, remember, take your immediate tornado precaution, which means getting down to the lowest level of your house, whether it be a basement or a central room in your house. Get away from any exterior walls, any windows. Make sure you have your emergency storm supplies with you. Okay, we just had a third tornado warning issued for the area. Wow, this tonight is kicking off for some reason. I'm not sure why. Just take a look down south real quick. I've got family in Little Rock, so I'm watching for them. Radar indicated tornado warning. Potosi's radar indicated this is still observed. Okay, we have another tornado warning for a very large swath of area. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. A couple of areas of rotation embedded in this line of cells that'll be moving into the area. I'm expecting it all to remain south. If it remains south in Jefferson County, once this cell dies, I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired, folks. I'm tired. Caroline, Cape Girardeau tonight. You're probably going to see a couple of thunderstorms. I'm expecting most of the storms to dissipate largely by the time they reach you. Still got a chance of seeing a couple of scattered thunderstorms that could produce some damaging wind gusts out towards y'all, but I'm thinking the tornado risk should be fairly diminished. Not a guarantee, but just what I'm thinking at that point, and I'll kind of track it out for y'all on the simulated radar. So we got a couple storms, maybe an isolated cell or two that could produce some damaging wind gusts, maybe an isolated tornado around you. But I'm thinking most of it's going to be weak as it gets towards y'all. So that's what you should expect. Expect a couple of other storms tomorrow that could also go severe with damaging wind, hail, and maybe an isolated tornado risk there as well. That's what you should be expecting tonight through tomorrow. Just keep your eye on it going into the early morning hours tomorrow. Why is this defaulting to a different radar? Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look down here. Still observed. I'm guessing that's based on radar. Take a look at correlation coefficient. Tornado is still likely on the ground. It appears to have slowed down significantly, but is over what appears to be several homes. So if it is on the ground, it looks to be fairly weak, but still causing damage. Still a significant risk to anybody who is in the path. So Grubville, you're still probably looking about 10 minutes. It has since that last statement slowed down quite a bit, so potentially 10 to 15 minutes for y'all. These storms are being very unpredictable when it comes to speed this evening, so Just keep an eye on it. It's coming towards you, but we'll see what happens. We'll take a look down south at Potosi. Once again, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening on that cell either. Looks like we're about to get a new scan of data. Yay! What are we gonna get? There's a nice crack of thunder outside my window. Excuse me. Maybe jump a little bit. Looks like the tornado has lifted going towards Grubville. Okay, so if you're in Grubville, looks like the tornado has lifted. Might still be a couple pieces of debris being held aloft, so if you're in that area, just beware. And it looks like that storm is completely fallen apart at this point. It's dead. It's finally dead. Please don't come back to life. Nobody wants to stay up any longer than they have to. So I've already got this storm down near Potosi to contend with. What's this thing moving at? 40 miles an hour. Okay. But I think the risk with that one is pretty much the same as this. I mean, we hardly have any structure on these cells. This one has a little bit. There's so much energy that's been taken away from these storms, I don't expect it to do all that much. We'll go ahead and check a couple of parameters, though, just to see. Rotation is still existent. I mean, it's existent. It's not significant or anything. Decent downdraft around here, by the way. Following behind what was this tornado, there's still a decent downdraft on some of these cells, so beware of some strong gusty winds. Grubville, it looks like your storm has gone outflow dominant from the looks of it. So I'm not expecting too much in the way of future development. But we'll go ahead and check that updraft. Yeah, the updraft's pretty much diminished at this point, so not really expecting anything for y'all going forward. I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens with the southern cell. Give it a couple of more scans, but I might call it a night. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. Besides, the rain outside is so relaxing. I can fall asleep in the chair. Take a look down south at all these cells down near Viburnum once again. You poor folks down there, you've been getting hit so hard tonight. 4 storms, and 7 years ago, these storms pounded this land. Okay. So yeah, just as a final farewell to this Grubville cell, it's pretty much dead. Ridgewoods, though, you're getting hit by some strong gusty winds at this point. Pretty good downdraft from one of those cells. Hurricane, you're about to get hit as well. These are pretty much the same area, maybe a mile or two off from areas that were just hit by a confirmed tornado on the ground that picked up debris around this landfill. I think it's something Oak Landfill. I'm not 100% sure. Had some fancy name. Tall Oak. Top Oak something. I don't know. I'm just the weather nerd. I don't name things. Potosi, that cell is still hanging out around you. For those of you that are wondering, I'm expecting this cell to push off to the northeast. Eureka, I'm thinking you'll pretty much be in the clear. I just want to verify that this isn't going to try to recycle. Then we'll have all this stuff down here over the next few hours. And everything's so slow moving, though I'm not expecting too much drama before midnight. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. Anything's possible. Yeah, definitely nothing on the ground anymore. Radar indicated, and finally, still observed, but it is not. Nobody can see this thing because it is no longer on the ground. Alright, well, let the National Weather Service end this warning. There's no bringing that storm back from the dead, I think. The updraft isn't going to support it. And I think Potosi is pretty much a dud as far as the storm goes. Go ahead and check just to see what that updraft looks like. Please don't recycle. Please. Please don't. I'm begging you. Don't. I just refined that one, and I'm expecting them to refine that one here in just a moment. Yeah, so for the folks in Cape Girardeau, just letting you know, again, a couple of wind gusts potentially later on tonight. As late as 3 or 4 over an hour, so don't expect anything too soon. Shy of some scattered thunderstorms. Take a look down south towards Little Rock real quick. Just want to make sure everything's hunky-dory down there. Did have a few strong storms move through portions of eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas earlier. A couple of tornadoes associated with them, but there's nothing on the ground anywhere at this point. Really, all the active tornado threats are in our area. I can still see where that hook is. And it's nagging me a little bit, but there's no rotation. So I'm going to say this threat is over. Yeah, no rotation. This thing has gone completely outflow dominant. I almost want to say the same thing for the cell down north of Potosi now, but I can't quite yet. My gut's telling me to keep watching, just for a few more minutes. Ooh, actually, hold on, what's happening here? Ooh, we might have an issue here, folks. We might have a tornado on the ground. We might. Not confirmed. But that does look fairly interesting. It might just be noise at the very unreliable distance away, and it's kind of slabbed, excuse that. It's kind of slabbed in a unique shape, so I'm not going to say for sure whether or not it is. But it might be. And notice the further south you go, the worse the radar coverage gets. We really need a radar in like Poplar Bluff or something. Poplar Bluff or Fredericktown, somewhere in the south where we can fill this radar hole. We've had so many storms pass through this area in southeast Missouri in the past 2 months. It's crazy. Checking on Potosi real quick. Still watching. It's got a little bit of shape to it. Say like, hey, don't leave yet. Not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. It looks like it's trying to wrap up a little bit out near Rabbitville. It's got a little bit of something going for it. But it's not on the ground. Alright, let's see what happens with this loop. Oh. In all seriousness, in all seriousness though, I am tired. I'll get this radar loop in and I think I'm gonna conk out for the night. Something about that. I don't know, folks. That looks fairly interesting, but I think it's just noise on radar, potentially from hail falling. Yeah. Go ahead and track out where it's moving. Yeah, I think folks in Wildwood are going to be okay at this point. I don't think you've got any issue for concerns shy of some strong There are some marginally strong winds and a good downpour this evening. So expect rain, expect thunder, expect a couple of marginally severe gusts at best. But I'm thinking for tonight our tornado threat has more or less diminished for at least portions of the area. And as I say that, the National Weather Service issues another tornado warning. They're just watching this cell down here just in case. Everybody's trigger happy, especially after what happened in St. Louis. I mean, as they should be. I mean, as we saw, these storms can produce fairly quickly, so part of me wants to stay alive, but part of me's like, go to bed. So I'll watch, give it a couple more frames, and then I'll say night-night. I just want to make sure that this thing goes away. And I'm not convinced that this isn't a tornado down here on the corner of Crawford County and whatever county Salem's in. Looks like it's not, though. Not seeing anything on the ground. Not seeing anything that screams tornado. Not really even seeing a great rotation signature either. Okay. I trust that you all know how to use a radar and listen to your National Weather Service warnings. Most of our population that would be watching this is in bed or is in the Franklin County area, and as of right now, pretty much everybody's safe. And if you're in Wildwood and watching, let you know we've got somebody who is. Or in Baldwin, I think you're going to be largely okay. I think this is going to move east, more parallel to Highway 21 going into St. Louis and eventually towards the metro. If you're going to watch, I suggest tuning in to Channel 4, Channel KMOV4 in St. Louis. I know the meteorologists out there, I trust their word on pretty much anything they're going to say. They've proven themselves time and time again to be reliable forecasters. And if Steve Templeton's still live, which I'm guessing he is as this is heading into the St. Louis area, tune into them. They've got everything figured out there. As for me, I'm going to go to bed. Good night, all. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe as this goes on. Remember, these storms have been evolving throughout the evening, so just keep an eye on them, especially this cell moving through southern portions of Jefferson County and northeast portions of Washington County right now. That's going to be our main risk. Keep an eye on it and stay safe for the rest of the night, folks. I am Ian Pfeiffer out here with Weatherman Fife YouTube channel. You can check me out on my Instagram as well. That is also Weatherman Fife. That is Weatherman Fife for Fife. Good night, all, and stay safe.